governor read this for us, but we're going to dare to read it again. Bones on the floor of the valley, bones that were very dry, and he asked me, Son of man, can these bones live? And I said, Sovereign Lord, you alone know.
Well, Karlin, thank you so much for coming on our podcast.
Yes, thank you for coming.
You didn't bail on us this time.
Yes.
Last time when we tried getting you on the podcast, just didn't work out, which is okay.
It was like you were the first one.
I was going to remind people that I was meant to be the first ever.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't remember that.
Well, yeah, he was the first one you wanted on our podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't remember that. But
I was kind of glad that I don't remember what was going on, but
Just
I'm glad that
busyness.
I had a year to
Were
practice.
you in school?
yeah.
I probably was
Yeah, I
at
think
that
you were
point.
in school.
Yeah. Yep.
Also, thank you for bringing me the coffee.
Yes. We are real podcasters with our coffee.
Have our drink.
The little. I didn't even look to see where this is from.
It's from Trading Grounds.
Okay. They
So,
sponsored this episode.
I was going to say, Trading Grounds.
Check out
sponsor-
Trading Grounds.
Is it just black coffee?
I got I just got an Americano for us both, and I did make them both decaf, and hopefully that's not insulting to the under 30 member of the podcast.
Well, honestly, I was coming here hoping it would be caffeinated because I was a little tired, but that's okay. I
tragic.
feel good now.
So
So
waste
If you
of
start
money.
falling asleep with notice. I have started to fall asleep during one of the episodes, and I felt so bad since there's only 3 of us.
Yeah.
Talking, you can clearly see the person that's falling asleep.
wait, which episode was
Well,
that?
I don't want to say that person will feel bad if they didn't notice. Then
I'm sure they were exciting enough. You
Okay.
just were tired.
I was tired.
You were probably like
I was pregnant.
super pregnant.
Yeah, and I was really tired.
Yeah, both of you definitely need to pull your weight on this podcast.
We do.
Yes, it gets a little hard when one of us stops asking questions.
And we have those moments.
Well, if that
where,
happens, I will start asking questions. Or I'll just start volunteering information.
That's
that would
fine.
be preferred. If you volunteered,
Yeah.
you should ask Joseph questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, there are bodies buried. I'll tell you where.
Well, Karlin, one question that we like to ask everybody who comes on the show is, what is your favorite color, and what does that say about you as a person?
Excellent. Well, like just about everybody else, my favorite color is green.
Okay.
And I think what it says about me as a person is that I like the color green. So
So
I don't think it really says
Yeah.
anything about me as a person. But I do like very specific shades of green.
Okay.
So obviously not like neon green. But it would probably be like, oak leaf green, or like hay green, or like the underside of a leaf, that color green. That's pretty cool too. So
Yeah, I've heard of people being very specific with the kind of colors. Like I seen recently somebody say that they like the teal that is in between thick pieces of glass. Like when you look green,
yeah.
or teal, the green that's on old cell phone screens, which there's a name for that, and I don't remember what it
Yeah.
was, but being so specific
yeah.
about the color you like.
Yeah.
We also like to ask which Ninja Turtle you think you're most like.
Yeah. And I have never watched the Ninja Turtles, so I don't know. You warned me that you were going to ask that question. I was like, I'm not going to have an answer, but I'll just let her ask anyway.
Okay,
So-
well, I thought maybe you'd watch an episode to do some.
Oh, yeah, gotta do
I
some
purposely
research.
did not. I said, I'm not even going to do that.
Well, Joseph, you watch the Ninja Turtles. Which one do you think Karlin's most like?
I think probably Donatello. I think maybe.
I don't know what that
He's the
means.
smart one.
Why Donatello?
He's a smart one. He hits people with sticks.
You seem like the kind of guy to hit
That
people with
sounds great.
sticks.
I love it.
That's
Okay,
funny.
I'll take it.
Okay, a new question I wanted to ask is if you found the lamp from Aladdin
Oh,
and you had 3 wishes. We have now a lot of standard questions, but what would be your 3 wishes?
Okay. I thought you were going to save this for the end because it was at the end of your list. Oh, man. Well, and it overlaps with the other
Oh,
question.
those questions are not put in order.
They're not. Okay.
Yeah, no.
We just jump all over. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I'll give maybe 3. Okay. I'll give a sort of real answer, a kind of real answer, and then a silly answer.
Okay.
So 3 wishes. $5 million in an index fund so that I never have to work for money for the rest of my life.
It's a good idea.
And then probably my second wish, slightly more real, would just be like full like harmony and alignment in my family, in my birth family. There's 9 of us kids. We all, kind of go different directions, do our own thing. And it's not like, I feel like saying that makes it sound like, crazy strife and everything, but it's just, as we're so big, like it's just easy to be like disconnected, I guess, kind of as you scatter out. And so that's, as you get older and grow and everyone kind of goes their own way, it just feels different. So that would maybe be my second wish. And then my third wish is I would fix college football. So,
How does college football need to be fixed?
there needs to be caps on how much money is paid to the players, and there needs to be a better structure for the playoff so that we can better crown the national champion of college football.
I see.
So,
What would be your cap for how much you pay a college
I
footballer?
don't know. Just make one up. Well, no, it would be like for the whole team.
Oh,
Because right now, like one team can literally spend like $40 million paying all of their players, and the other team like doesn't have that much money, so they spend like $2 million.
I see.
So you have like way better players on one team and
Yeah.
not good players on another team.
It needs to be standardized.
Yep. And also like it's like so big, like there's like a conference that's like all over the nation rather than like small conferences throughout the nation.
Okay.
So, yep.
All right.
That's as much as I'll bore you with that.
We'll get a hold of whoever's in charge of that.
Yeah.
We have connections.
Once we find the lamp.
Yeah, when we find the lamp, it'll be easy. Okay, and now my next question would be 5 minutes with Jesus or $5 million.
Yeah. Well, okay, so yeah, you previewed that one, and I already asked for $5 million from Aladdin, but I would also take the $5 million from Jesus because I'm gonna see him in heaven anyway.
That's true.
And like you pointed out, like he's already with us, he's already living inside of us.
Yes.
So yeah, I would take the $5 million now, and so that I could, better serve Jesus on this earth.
Yeah.
And then we'll hang out for 5 minutes in heaven.
Yes. Okay. I think people who say 5 minutes with Jesus got to think about how selfish they're being, because it's only you that get 5 minutes. Whereas if you get $5 million, you can bring Jesus to lots of people.
That's right.
5 million people.
That's
even.
right.
So many people if you have $5 million.
Yep.
Think about that. It's more holy to want the money.
It's a trick question.
It is a trick question.
Makes you sound like a greedy,
It does.
Well, there's also the one verse where Jesus says, this is kind of a paraphrase, but like something along the lines of like, more blessed is the one who doesn't see but still believes, or something like that.
Thomas, after he proved.
Yeah.
Then
So
he
it's
died.
like, if you see Jesus for 5 minutes,
Yeah.
kind of wrecks your whole streak. You got
Exactly.
there.
Then you get no rewards in heaven.
No, like
After
now
that.
you've seen him.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This is serious. I think this is something we need to talk about at church.
Good sermon topic idea. We should have, well, I guess we kind of do have that, but we should have like a suggestion box for sermons. Like
Yeah. Well, and if Christians say I want 5 minutes with Jesus, that means they don't really believe he's inside of them and is with them all the time.
Yeah.
And you're not doing your God time. Like
Yeah.
it shows. You don't want $5 million, it shows you're not doing your God time.
I love how you just turn that into like, I got you. I know now that
Now
you're
I
not doing your God time. That's so funny.
I don't know. 5 minutes with Jesus would be pretty awesome too.
Yeah.
Your
would.
brother said
Yeah.
the same thing, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, Joseph, you can take it over. I've asked all the.
I feel like 5 minutes of Jesus would like change the whole trajectory of your life.
Well, it did for Paul.
Whereas like,
Yeah.
exactly. He had like 30 seconds with Jesus.
It did for Paul, but also.
But like $5 million, you're just gonna spend it and it's gonna be gone.
Well, you wouldn't.
No, you're not going to spend it. You're going to
No.
invest it, and then you'll have money for the rest of
You'll
your
put
life.
it in your index fund.
Yeah, exactly. In the index
Well, and
fund.
then you would help a bunch of people. Imagine if you didn't have
Yeah.
to, the hours you spent working for money, you could like not do that
Yep.
and work for Jesus, not for money.
Maybe. I feel like you just waste all the money and the rest of your life.
Well, maybe we'll have to
Maybe
try this
you
out.
would, Joe. Is that what you would do?
I feel like that's what I would do. Yeah.
We'll have to try this out. Somebody needs to give us $5 million. We'll give
It's
it
like-
to Karlin.
Yeah.
Give it to Joe.
It's yeah. We can be. Yeah, Jared and I are willing to be test cases. If you give us $5 million, we promise.
We promise to do the experiment.
It's like the One Ring. You know, everyone thinks that they will use it for
This
good.
Is the Lord of
but
the Rings.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody
Yeah.
needs to write a book about this.
yeah,
A Christian
someone
is given
should do
$5 million.
Yeah, I'm
We've
I'm
spent-
guessing that's probably already been written, but
Probably a lot of the
don't know.
books have been written. We've spent a lot of time on this.
Well, Karlin,
yeah. Let's get to the good stuff. The stuff about me.
Yeah.
we would like to know about your life,
Uh huh.
and I'm sure everyone listening is very interested as well. So what is your earliest memory? We'll just start at the beginning.
My very earliest memory. I don't really think I have a lot of like super young memories, but I have this like one little picture in my mind that must be an early memory because my mom was holding my younger brother Gabe. He's the only one younger than me. She was like holding him in a chair and he was a baby. So I must have been like 3. So like I just have that one little random snippet and there's like no meaning attached to it. Although I feel like you've talked about like every memory that we have, we remember it because there's some emotional significance to it. So I'm like, I feel like there must be some emotional significance that I've forgotten about.
Maybe you were worried that you were no longer the baby.
Exactly. Yep. That was probably it. So just that one little snippet, and then I don't even know what another memory would be after that. It's just, I have memories of being young and playing and running around, but nothing specific. So
And how many were you guys?
yeah, so I grew up in a family with 8 siblings. So my parents had 2 girls and then 7 boys in a row.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, and I don't know how my mother survived that, but but we did live out in the country. So I grew up on a farm, and so they could just kick us out of the house and we could go run around outside. But
And you're number 7.
I'm number 8.
Number 8?
So yep, and then
Okay.
just Gabe, younger than me.
Okay.
So
Wow, that's a big family. What was it
Yeah.
like having so many siblings?
it was how would I describe it? I don't feel like I can describe it simply. But one of the things is that there's like a huge age gap between me and my oldest sibling. So my oldest sister is 16 years older than me.
Oh, wow.
And so there's a lot of things about it that are really interesting. So like as a kid, the main thing is, I just had a lot of older siblings to boss me around and,
Yeah.
be second and third and fifth parents, and all that sort of thing. But then the other thing that I think is interesting about it is, you have like oldest child, middle child, youngest child, personality types. And I feel like our family almost like had like 2 sets of those in a way. Like we kind of had oldest, youngest, and then, middles, but like my brother older than me, I feel like had a lot of like oldest sibling stereotypes. And then, I don't know, I think I sort of have middle child stereotypes. And then, so it felt like almost sets. But then also, my parents moved to southern Iowa from Oklahoma, I think. I don't remember I don't remember if my dad moved there as a child or not, but they were in southern Iowa when they had my oldest siblings all the way up to me. And then they moved up to Kelowna and they had me about a year later and then Gabe. So like the set of like 4-ish, maybe 5-ish younger siblings, like we don't really remember southern Iowa. And like but all the older kids do. And so like all the older kids, like they have this like whole set of memories and experiences. And like they knew my grandparents really well because they lived down there. And so it just like, it felt like, yeah, two different families, almost two different sets of experiences. So even down to, there was this recipe that my mom made when I was a kid that I just hated. It was like ham and white beans on cornbread. And I just hated it. I like it was the only thing I think that I would refuse to eat. But all my older siblings loved it because like they ate it a ton when they lived down there because that was all they could afford to eat. And so, you know, they're always like, Mom, can you make that again? I'm like, no, don't. So, but then, so that's what it was like as a kid. But then, once we all got a little older, so my oldest sibling started having kids when I was like, 11, 12 ish. And so I grew up with all these like nieces and nephews that felt like little siblings because like the age gap between me and them is like the same as between me and my oldest siblings. And so, so I just loved that. Like once my oldest siblings started having kids, and then when we'd have family gathering, like for Christmas, we'd get together for like a whole week at my parents' house. And it was just total chaos. The house was full. There's kids everywhere. And so I just loved that aspect of it. So as a kid, obviously you don't really think about it as a kid. And it was slightly annoying, you know, having all those older siblings bossing me around. But then as I grew older, like I really loved it and still do. So
what was it like growing up on a farm? Did you get put to work pretty early?
yes. Growing up on a farm was awesome. I wish every single kid, especially every single boy, could grow up on a farm. Like it really is. Yeah, it was just, I loved it. As for what it was like, yeah, I mean, we got put to work early, you know, as soon as we could walk and identify a weed, you know, we were out pulling weeds in the garden and that sort of thing. But all those memories are awesome too, you know, being able to plant gardens and harvest gardens. And then we grew up on kind of an odd farm, even at the time. Like it was still kind of the like small family farm. We grew a little bit of everything, which is not really how it's done anymore. Like, you know, anymore you have to grow lots of things and maybe only one thing. And so it was a pretty small farm, but we had cows and pigs and chickens, and you know we grew corn and soybeans and hay, and so kind of all the things. And so once I got a little bit older, you know, I would graduate from the garden to maybe like taking care of the chickens. That was a pretty easy job, and then a little bit older, you might start feeding some other animals. And then I think by the time I was about 12, I got to start getting up at like 5 a.m. to milk cows, which I was terrible at getting up in the morning. I never did that well. You know, I feel so terrible about it now, but I would like try to like, my parents would like get me out of bed and I would like go hide somewhere to try to keep sleeping and all these things. So it was terrible. But yeah, so probably around 12, I started, you know, doing, I would say all the things that were to be done. And I probably started driving a tractor around the same time, 12 or 13. I started driving a truck. I wrecked my first truck when I was 12 years old.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, just the ability to, you know, do things so young and to really feel like my contribution mattered, like my family needed me. And, of course, when I was a kid, you know, I grumbled and complained about it. But I think what was really happening is like, yeah, your family needs you to contribute for the farm to operate well. And so I think that does a good thing for a kid in any way that you can do that. So
Yeah. How do you feel like having that experience as a kid has affected the rest of your life?
Oh boy.
I only ask easy questions.
Yeah. That's an interesting one to answer. I feel like I did have to kind of unlearn some things a little bit, because it did kind of feel like the work was never done. And so it just felt like, okay, I'm just going to get up in the morning and I'm going to work all day long. Like I'm going to work for 3 hours and then I'm going to go to school and then I'm going to be in school all day. And then I'm going to come home and then I'm going to work some more. And then I'm going to do my schoolwork. And then I'm going to go to, like, it just felt like, okay, it's just on and on and on. And so I realized after a while as an adult that like, oh, I still kind of have this mindset of like, I want to, like, I'm tempted to procrastinate and kind of despair because I just feel like, well, it doesn't matter how hard I work. It's just like, it's not ever going to get done anyway. And so I feel like I had to kind of unlearn that a little bit. So that was maybe the negative aspect of it. But I feel like the positive aspect of it is, I do feel like it gave me just kind of a lot of confidence. Like I was like, well, I still remember when I was the first time my dad told me he was going to put me on a tractor, I just was terrified. I was so scared. I knew I was going to wreck it. Like I knew it just was not going to go well. And then I did it. I pushed through. He probably helped me more than most of my siblings. I think he knew I needed a little extra coaching, and I was not a mechanically minded, mechanically oriented kid at all. So yeah, if anyone was going to wreck a tractor, it was going to be me, as evidenced by the truck that I wrecked. But then when I pushed through it and did it, I was like, oh wow, that was super scary, and I was able to do it, and so just a lot of things like that. Like it just felt like, okay, I can do things. So
Those are huge, though. That is very scary.
yeah.
Do you bring that same mindset to raising your kids now? Like you want them to be contributing to your home and feel that kind of confidence?
Yeah, as much as we can. I mean, it seems like it's just in little ways for what we have, but we have a cat, and Declan was begging for a cat for years, and we were like, well, okay, we'll get a at, but then you have to clean the litter box, and you have to feed it, and you have to do all the things, and we try to do that as young as we can. Like both of them, I think, by the time they were 2, it's like, well, okay, you can like put silverware from the dishwasher into the drawer, and then once you're a little older, you can do dishes, now lately we've been focusing more on just, okay, you have your entire room full of toys or clothes or whatever, like you can pick that up and put that away. And so, yeah, definitely as much as we can. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Joe.
No, go
Are
ahead.
your parents still on the same farm?
They live right across the road.
Yeah.
So they're on the farm that they were on the farm that I grew up on. And then right across the road was a house that my grandma lived in when I was a kid. Growing up Mennonite, there was this Dutch word. Now I'm not even going to remember it. But a grandpa is like a dottie, and a grandma, they just called her a mommy or something like that. And so they called it the Dottie house, is the grandpa house. And so once they got a little bit older, they moved across the road into that house. And then I think Gabe and Holly moved into that place right away. That's where they live now. So Gabe and Holly live on the home place.
So is that house the same one you would have grown up in?
It is.
Oh, shoot. I wish I had known that and cared enough to
You could have seen all the places.
Seen it all. But it was fun being in that house recently, though. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then, now I can like imagine what you would have been doing from some of the things I saw. Okay.
Yeah.
That's quite the house to fit 8 children in.
I mean, it is quite a big house.
Yeah, well, there's the basement and attic.
Yeah, there was the basement some of us had our bedroom down there. It was not an inhabitable place, but we definitely, there was a lot of moisture down there. But yeah, and there were several, I mean, so it was a big house, but I always shared a bedroom until I was maybe 12 or 14. I think by that time enough of the older ones had moved out that then we were each able to have our own bedroom. But yeah, we had to stack 3 or 4 of us in a bedroom.
And
most
the kitchen
of the time.
is huge.
Yeah. The kitchen is huge, and then there was a huge dining room too. And so we could pack a lot of people in there.
Wow.
So, you grew up Mennonite. What was as a kid, what was your concept, your idea of who God was?
That's another good. You're asking the questions in a different way than they were on the list.
I'm sorry,
giving them the-
Jared didn't send me the list of questions.
Yeah. I
did
I'm
not.
just making
That's
up
really
questions.
good though. I feel like it makes me think harder than I was thinking.
Can't have your prepared
Yeah.
answers. I'm sorry.
No. What was my concept? Yeah, I feel like I just had a lot of. I think when I thought of God, I just thought of a lot of fear mostly, and not totally. And some of that was probably just how my mind interpreted things. And it wasn't all fear. It felt like fear mixed with, I still wanted to please God. And I knew like from a really young age, like I want to follow God. I want to do what God says is right. But yeah, just at the bottom, it just felt like a lot of fear. Yeah.
Why do you think?
I remember when I was like 5, was the first time, maybe 6, was the first time I remember just laying awake at night, and I had just heard a preacher talk about hell, and like it was, there were some good hellfire and brimstone messages, and I feel like I heard a lot too, like that Jesus can come back at any moment, and like it could just just could happen. But yet at the same time, like in my mind, it was always going to happen at night. So
Yeah.
like night was the scary.
Yes.
So any moment at night, Jesus could come
Yeah.
back in this part of the world.
And definitely on your worst night.
Yeah, exactly. So I just remember at like 5 or 6 years old, like just laying awake, multiple nights. I don't know how many nights, but just like being terrified that like Jesus is going to come back at any moment, and I'm not saved. I'm not ready. I'm going to go to hell. And so that's what the fear felt like, is just that idea that I had in my mind.
Did it keep you from sleeping? Like, were you just staying awake and
I mean,
to fall asleep? 'Cause
like I
Jesus
said,
was gonna come?
like I said, I feel like I have memories of nights like that, but I don't think it's like I had insomnia for a year or anything like
yeah.
that. But so I had those feelings, and then I remember finally one night I was like, I'm so scared, and so I went and got my mom and asked her if she would pray with me, and she came and prayed with me, and so I felt like at that time I felt like, okay, I'm saved now, I'm good. But then it kind of just started a cycle for me where I would feel like, okay, I'm saved now because I prayed the prayer, but then I would feel like for whatever reason I wasn't following God right. And so then after a while I'd be like, well, I got to pray the prayer again. So I'd pray it again, and then that would make me feel better for a while.
No.
And then, so it was, so it was just kind of a cycle like that. And then once I was about 12, the other thing that my church that I grew up in, and a lot of Mennonite churches do, is or at least in that circle, every year or so they would have like a whole week of, they would call them revival meetings. And it was like literally a whole week of you go to church every single night, and they bring in some preacher that speaks every night, and every night there's an altar call, or at least sometimes they like build the suspense for a few days, and then like the altar calls start on day 3 or 4, and then every night. So that felt like a lot of pressure. Once I got to about like 10 or so, it felt like every year I would sit through those. I was like, oh, I don't think I'm right with God. I don't think I'm saved. And so I would feel all this pressure. But for whatever reason, for 2 or 3 years, I would not go up front or answer the altar call or whatever. And then finally, I think when I was like 12, I had a night where I felt like, okay, I gotta do it. So I walked down and prayed, and I felt like relief then. And there again, I felt like, well, now I must be saved. Like it was an altar call. Like, this is for real.
This is for real now.
The whole church was watching, and so this must be real. And it's still, I still to this day, haven't been able to sort out, for sure, like when I actually got saved. So maybe, there was certainly some fruit, when I was a teenager. But there was also, again, just a lot of fear and not following God well. So I'll just keep going on that track. But, and then, the other aspect of it that, felt hard for me is there was kind of, at a certain age, you were kind of expected to join the church and become a member, and baptism was tied to that. So like you didn't get baptized when you were, when you answered an altar call necessarily. You got baptized when you were old enough to take a membership class and join the church. And so for me, I didn't feel right with God at all. And I was still kind of going through the cycle of like praying a prayer and then not feeling right and then praying a prayer. I'm ashamed to say, but eventually I felt like, well, I have to like join the church or else people will start like really digging into my life and questioning me, which would be a good thing, like for people to want to say like, okay, are you really walking with God? And so I just felt like, so I knew, like at that point, I really, like whatever else was going on, I just didn't have peace. But I was like, well, I just have to do it to please people. And so I just did it to please people. And so that was a really unfortunate thing. So that was when I was, I think, 15 or 16. And then I finished high school about a year early. So I sort of took a gap year at a Mennonite Bible college, and that's where I felt like I really got saved. So about halfway through that, there were just a lot of really good things that happened there. But I think the bottom line of what happened there is like I really made friends who were really connecting with me on a deep level, and they were walking with God, and they actually cared about me walking with God. And I was able to open up and just share with them. And so like I feel like that just kind of started cracking me open. And then I got about halfway through that year, and there was a chapel one morning. And at some point I felt like I should fast. So I fasted, and coming out of that, there was just a chapel one morning, and I don't even remember what the speaker talked about, but whatever it was touched a nerve in me and really, again, I don't even remember what he talked about. So I don't know exactly like what it broke open in me, but what I remember feeling is I felt like up until that point, it was always like there's a ledger, and every time I do a bad thing, like, okay, that's a mark on the ledger, and it's like I need God to wipe that ledger clean. Which there's some truth in, but what hit me that morning was like, okay, it's not just that I'm a neutral person doing bad things. It is, I am a sinful person. Like that's my heart, and that heart needs to be changed. And so it just, for some reason, even growing up in church, even hearing, the Bible preached, that's when that, really hit me. And, I felt like I repented from the heart, and Jesus changed me from the heart. And so, and that really, and I feel like I didn't experience, I don't know. I mean, I experienced all kinds of emotions at that time, but I don't feel like there's like a clear set of like, I just felt great after that, but there was definitely change after that. So, the rest of my time there at that Bible college was just a whole different experience. It was really good. And then, coming back from it, I just saw a lot of change in my life. And so I think that's when I actually got saved. But like I said, looking back, to this day, I still don't know like where exactly was the line, but
Have you gone back to say the prayer again ever since then?
no.
Well, then
no,
that's
I
probably
haven't.
when it,
yeah, right.
when it happened.
I mean, and I still had to struggle some with that feeling of
Yeah.
like, feeling like I need to rinse and repeat. But just knowing like, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
But, and then it was also soon like, so So I think I got saved in January of 2009, it would have been. And then that fall, I started at Kirkwood and met the guys in the course. I would have met like John and Matt Huther and Matt Reinert. And then I started learning about like Calvinism too. And so that was really helpful. Like, I think I might have struggled more with like falling back into that cycle of feeling like I need to rinse and repeat. But then I started learning about, oh no, like God does, like there is perseverance of the saints. God does carry you through, which was not. So I feel like that's the biggest difference from what I grew up with to where I am now, is the idea of salvation and how
it
that gets
actually
applied.
works.
And yeah.
Do Mennonites teach that you can lose your salvation?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Well, that
Yep.
makes sense then. That whenever you sinned, you probably felt like, "Well, I've got to
Yep.
redo it now.
Yeah.
Can't go to sleep."
Yeah.
How would you describe the Mennonite church to someone who just has no idea what it is? They never heard the word Mennonite before.
Oh boy. Well, I mean, I would probably just say that, it goes all the way back to Anabaptists in the Reformation. So, they were part of the whole splintering that was happening in the Reformation. And so they really, at the Reformation time, they would have, also been breaking away from the Catholic Church. But, they're called Anabaptists because they were taking all of these people that had been baptized as infant Catholics and saying, well, you were a baby. You couldn't have trusted Jesus then. So now that you trust Jesus, now we're going to baptize you. But they also would have really emphasized, like, at that time, like just really living as simply as possible, living as plainly as possible. They really wanted to get back to, the church in Acts. They wanted to meet in houses and meet simply. And but they also, from the get-go, would have emphasized like non-resistance and pacifism, things like that. So those are a couple of the big distinctives from like the rest of reformers. And so then Anabaptist has splintered, in tons of different ways too. So there's obviously the Amish would have come out of that. And yeah, I can't think of some of the other groups right now. But so the strain of Mennonite that I was in. So I would say Mennonite broadly came from that. And the strain of Mennonite that I was in was, somewhere between Amish and the normal world, I guess, like kind of halfway, halfway in there.
Like, what would that look like? You wore the dresses, but not like the same ones?
Well, so there are a lot of
I don't
like,
think Karlin wore the dress.
Well, yeah, not you.
not
Not you.
Yeah.
Maybe your sisters.
Be a weird church.
Yeah.
That's like modern day Lutheran or something.
Yeah. So the dress was very distinctive. So as far as technology goes, like they allowed the internal combustion engine, but they wouldn't have had any like TV, radio, video things. So like basically any entertainment thing was like off limits. But technology wise, they drove normal cars, normal tractors, normal farm machines, things like that. And then, the dress is still, so they still emphasize like the plainness, they want a church building to be simple. They want the way they dress to be simple. And it's also, fairly formal. So like every Sunday, all the guys wear suits. All the ladies wear, nice dresses or whatever. The ladies wear dresses at all times. And then they would wear head coverings as well. That would be a distinctive. And then like, just as far as like what it's like, again, obviously it's gonna vary a little bit depending on what exact stripe of Mennonite you're in. But the community is super close. Like it's kind of the Amish barn raising stereotype. Like that's very much the Mennonite way. Like if someone's, house or something burns down, like the whole community will come together and help. Or if somebody just gets sick, like the whole community will come together and help. So it's very much a culture of, really deep community, really thick community, really helping each other. And everyone, I would say, is like very self-sufficient. Like we lived on a farm, not all the Mennonites farm, but they would, almost all be in like a trade of some sort, like carpentry or something like that. And by and large, they live in the country. They all have big gardens. They all, grow a lot of their own food, things like that. So very self-sufficient, and then just very hardworking. Like, they can just do a lot in a day. So,
So was there much, like, this is kind of a really random question, but like in Kelowna, there's a lot of Amish as well. Was there much like interaction between the Amish and Mennonite community that you remember growing up, or?
no, they kind of each just stay in their own lane. As far as normal life goes, like, they'll cross paths in business, and sometimes they'll do business together. One of the things with Amish is like they can't drive vehicles, but a lot of them do construction. So like they'll like hire a Mennonite guy to like drive their work crew around. So there's like business partnerships almost like
Gotta
that.
love those workarounds.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's always a loophole.
Which then what is the point?
Yeah. Well, here's the positive spin I'll put on the Amish thing is it is easy to kind of look and be like, well, and the newest thing down in Kelowna, if you go down to like Stringtown or whatever, is they all have e-bikes now.
Yeah,
So
okay.
like they just
Really?
like they skipped the internal combustion engine and they just went straight to
Oh my
electric
gosh,
technology.
that's funny.
So they'll all have these e-bikes, and they'll just zip around on those. But where I was going with that is, what's really at the heart of it is they want to keep the culture close. So like
Yeah.
any kind of technology that allows you to commute an hour and just scatter the community is like they don't want that. So
Yeah.
like that I think is it does seem a little nonsensical to me.
Yeah.
To like parse these different technologies. But that's like really at the core of what they're trying to do is they want to keep the
Stay
community
together.
close. So
Yeah, I mean, in my mind, like it's almost like a cell, like like an individual, like
Yep.
cell of life or whatever. Like you need that membrane around it that keeps it together. Otherwise, like it's honestly amazing that the Amish still exist in American society.
Yeah.
Because like American society has like transformed itself into this one giant glob through like
Yeah.
media and through technology and
Yep.
I mean even like other countries have become more like the United States than even their own traditional past because
Yep.
of technology and media and
Yep.
whatnot. Like if you think about like South Korea or like Japan, I mean they still have like their own distinctive flavors, but
Yeah.
our culture has definitely influenced them in a ton of ways.
Yeah.
So
Well, and the carve outs that Amish have is like kind of impressive. Like they don't pay social security tax, which like makes me want to go join them.
Yeah, join the Amish.
That would be so great to have more money back. And they've like carved out their school system too. Like they had a Supreme Court case where like they won the right to only educate their children to 8th grade and educate them, like in their religion, in their language. They don't have to teach them English so it like really is kind of impressive, like some of the things that they've carved out.
And they don't vote, right? I know in the last election it was a big deal that a bunch of them from Pennsylvania voted.
Yeah. I don't even know what the exact answer. They're not really supposed to vote. Like they're supposed to have that separation of, church and state or two kingdom. I mean, they would call it like two kingdoms. But a lot of them do vote. Yeah. So, and I have no idea what the percentage would be, but
There's this family that lives next to Brenda's mom because she lives out there.
yeah.
And the girl, a Amish girl, gave me this book of like their beliefs.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
And it was like, I don't know, something for Christians. And it just went over everything they believe and everything they don't believe in.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, like when you just read it on paper, it's like, well, I agree with this.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then when you act it out and
Yeah.
you like take it to the full extent of
Yeah.
what this means, or even if they're actually doing this, then it's like, well, like, but you can't really live this way.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
but it was interesting to see that like a lot of the things we would agree with, except, we're not super legalistic about it.
Yeah. 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 I feel like like I said, I feel like really the underlying difference or what even felt off to me, even though I at the time maybe wasn't able to articulate it, would be like the belief on salvation and how that happens. But yeah, in practice, I mean, the other thing that I struggled with is, there's a lot of external rules and And you know, I was a typical 18-year-old that thought I was super, you know, too cool for this. But it was like, well, where's that in the Bible? And so yeah.
So was it hard to change your mindset when you came out of that and, you know, was coming to New Life or whatever church you were going to like stop believing in the, you know, women only wear dresses and skirts and men, I don't know, what do men do?
Men dress fairly normally, but like on Sundays they all wear suits, and it's like a very specific cut of suit. Like it's not just any suit; it has to be the right suit.
Okay.
So yeah, and they're all supposed to wear beards, things like that. Yeah, some of it was hard. I think it was just hard to leave the community, period. Like it just felt, you know, this is where I grew up. This is everybody I know. This has been my whole world. Like, so that felt really hard and scary to feel like, well, I'm stepping out and I have like, it felt like I have no idea what the real world is like. And so I think that was the harder thing. Changing my mind about salvation was, that was tough, but I feel like it went pretty quick. Like I remember reading Romans 9 and it felt like the first time I'd ever read it. And I was like, there's no way this is actually the Bible. Like there's no way that God just gets to pick people and not other people. And I remember being very upset about that. But as far as some of the cultural stuff, like the dress and things like that, I don't know. I felt like I'd always kind of been like, well, I don't really see that in the Bible. So I feel like that stuff kind of fell away pretty quick. And I didn't have as much of a problem with that. The pacifism was probably like, that one stuck in my craw a little bit more. And I was actually kind of thinking about that as I was thinking about this podcast. I was like, I feel like I should articulate that better even to myself, like how that really, because I mean, you know, growing up being taught that, and it is like really like Christians can go out and like fight in a war and kill people. Like that seems, it seems hard to reconcile maybe. But yeah. But at the same time, it's like, well, you know, God's people in the Old Testament, like, you know, there is such a thing as a just war. There is such a thing as evil that needs to be stopped on this earth. And so
what makes a war just? I'm pretty.
That wasn't on the list.
I'm pretty interested in that question personally.
If Hitler is on the other side, I
yes.
think that's pretty much, then you're good.
Then you're good to go. That is interesting. Was Jesus a pacifist? Kind of like, thing. Because you could argue anyway, the disciples, you know, carried weapons because Peter cut off the one guy's ear.
Yep.
But he said, you know, if the Roman soldiers are asking you to carry their stuff a mile, carry it too.
Yep.
Like he put back the ear. He
Yep.
let them take him.
Yep.
And if we're supposed to be like Jesus, it kind of looks like we should just do what we're told.
Yeah.
So that's difficult.
I have a very specific question to maybe help us narrow it down a little.
Okay.
Was the Revolutionary War a just war?
I honestly am not sure how I would answer that question right now. That probably makes me a terrible American. But I mean, yeah, I think good arguments could maybe be made both ways. I think that, there were good reasons to go to war, and there was also a lot of like, I think maybe you like intentionally provoked some things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that's an interesting one to think about because it's like the Bible tells us not to rebel against authorities.
Yeah.
And while people say like, well, you can rebel against unjust authorities, like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, prove that in scripture to me.
Yeah.
Because I don't see a whole lot of that. I see a whole lot of unjust authorities at the time, you know, the Roman government and whatnot, that was much more brutally oppressing the Jewish people than the British were oppressing the Americans, as far as I understand.
Yeah.
It's a good thing though that like we have the right to like protest and kind of the right to rebel. So you wouldn't be breaking any commandments or rules if you...
Yeah, well, if I started a war with the United States government. I think
But I feel like there's something in there that says you can do that.
I think a lot of Christians think that too. I don't know. For
Not in
myself,
the Bible, but like with like you can vote. They allow you to have a voice in the government, and you can protest. There's a lot of freedoms here in America. Is what I'm
for
saying.
myself personally, I'm super excited to be 27 years old and be out of the selective service.
Yes.
So that when World War III starts, I don't
Yep.
have to be forced in the draft. Hopefully.
Yep.
Oh, is that you? If you're 27, then you don't have to go?
I believe 26 is the cutoff for
Oh.
selective service. So I mean, still like I think there is still the possibility of you getting drafted, even if you're over 26, as far as I understand things.
Did you look this up because you were like, "Ugh, things are looking dicey"?
Well, I just
just in case.
I mean,
I would mostly consider myself a pacifist unless like the Chinese specifically invaded Iowa. If they invaded California, I'm not going over there
you're
to fight.
constitutionally bound to California, though. So I mean, so if you're abandoning your brothers in California, I think you might be sinning there too.
Okay, so I would be rebelling against my government there. then, too.
Yep.
See, I would have to look into this more, but I'm pretty sure there are examples of like early church Christians in the Roman army who like refused to fight and were martyred because of that. And I don't know like exactly why they would have chosen to do that. But
there are also Roman soldiers who were told to stay at your post and keep being a Christian right where you're at. So
yeah.
I think it seems like there's freedom of conscience to yeah.
My conscience is definitely I would much rather fight a defensive war and I'm not going overseas. But
World War III is going to be fought with drones though anyway.
Yeah,
so
that's
we don't have to worry about just war theory. We'll just send the drones. If drones are doing the killing, then we don't
It's
have to.
it's not on us.
put an Xbox controller in my
It
hand.
wasn't
Yeah.
me, Jesus. It was the
Yeah.
drones you allowed me to create.
AI is run. I'm not even running the drones. AI
It's
is.
AI.
We're completely absolved.
Yes.
That's awesome. Great.
Well, there's a lot that gets done on this podcast. Like that's been figured out really quickly.
Yeah, we completely solved that question.
Solved.
Yeah, like I said, I don't feel like I have a fully articulated thought on that, but yeah.
Well, I'm sure you're happy to not be eligible for the draft too. So.
I am. Yeah. Yep. Do not want to go fight in a war.
I did want to ask, so how did your parents, to get off that topic,
Yeah.
model like having a relationship with God? Then we can probably move away from your early childhood, and because we've been
Yeah.
jumping around quite a bit.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like my dad was maybe, more of a typical male, show don't tell. He just lived it out. I think some of the more specific, my dad was just extremely honest, and fair. So like if I have multiple memories of, he would borrow a piece of farm equipment from another farmer or something. And it was like, if something breaks, or even if something doesn't necessarily break, like we send this back better than we got it. And so he just worked incredibly hard. I mean, I don't personally know anybody that works harder than my dad. And so just seeing that modeled, I think was so I don't remember him, having a lot of specific conversations, necessarily, but, and we would have, family devotions at times as a family. And that wasn't always like a super, daily thing all the way through my childhood. But, and then my mom, I feel like she really more modeled, I would see her often having God times and things like that, reading the Bible, and praying. And she read to us a ton too, especially my younger brother, Gabe, and I. Like I've talked to my older siblings, and my older siblings don't remember her reading as much, but so I don't know if it was like we were her last two kids and she felt like, time was running short or whatever. But she would read to us almost every night, like just so much reading. Like she would just read until she fell asleep, and then she would like wake up and keep reading. It's like it was like looking back, I'm like, she should have had boundaries. Like she should not have read to us that much. But it was really so. I think just that that connection time. I think is what modeled Jesus to me more than anything else. Yeah.
And so were your parents and are your siblings still Mennonite? Were they sad that you left?
Yeah. They've never told me that. But I think it was hard for them. And so I'm trying to remember, I have one brother that's actually a Mennonite pastor, in a kind of a sister church to the one I grew up in. And then a sister that's still Mennonite, a brother that's in another state, still Mennonite. And I think it's just those three. So the other 6 would be some version of non-Mennonite. And yeah, I think that was hard. I mean, different kids left in different ways. And so I wasn't the first to leave the church. So I don't know that I maybe broke ground on that as much. But yeah, I think that was hard for my parents. And it's hard for me too, honestly. Like that's the one thing. Like I don't regret leaving. I don't, I'm where I'm at. Like if I thought that I should go back, I would go back. But the one thing I do, it's like I know it's not possible to change, and I wish I could change it. Is like I think it is. There's kind of a community aspect of it. Like every kid or every parent wants their kids to follow in their footsteps and things like that. But I think it's hard, for them to have their children gone and not still in the same community, still in the same. So yeah, it's one of those things that like yeah, I wish I could change that, but this side of heaven I can't. So
Yeah, that's difficult. It is a blessing that like your family, all of you guys come to the same church. I'm sure it'll make your parents really sad if like one of you guys left and went and joined something else.
If Joe goes to war in China.
Joe goes to war because of California. That's interesting.
I'll get lost somewhere along the way to California and
I bet.
Yeah.
Becomes a hippie.
end back up in Iowa somehow.
Yeah.
So what was grade school and high school like for you? Did you play sports? What was it? Did you have a lot of friends?
So the church I grew up in had their own school, and I was talking about, the Amish kind of have their carve out with schooling. I think the Mennonites maybe fall under that umbrella a little bit. But so they had like their own school that like only the kids from that church go to. So it was a really small, there was like maybe 40 kids total from like grades 1 through 12. And it was a really unique, like it was kind of a one-room schoolhouse model. But we used this curriculum that was like almost a self-taught curriculum, and the teachers were almost just sort of there as like guides. And so that's what school was like. It was really small. I only ever had like 2 or 3 kids that were like my age or in my grade. And so, but it was kind of neat in that, we had all the kids from grades 1 through 12 kind of all together. So you have this whole mix of kids and personalities and ages and things like that. So that was really neat. They didn't initially have, like before my time, they didn't initially have high school. And then it was actually my brother that was like 4 years older than me. Like they added high school like right as he got to that age. And so I was able to go through high school in that school. So yeah, and then they don't really do like organized sports either, Mennonites. And so like we would have like PE and recess where we would like play games like just like, so we would like play basketball, we'd play softball, but it was all just like I don't know, for fun, I guess, not like a competitive thing like that. So, which I was always a little bummed about. I really wanted to play. There was another school down the road that did have a basketball team, and one of my brothers actually ended up going there and playing basketball. And I was like, oh, I want to play basketball. But I was a shrimpy little kid, so I probably wouldn't have made a team anywhere either.
That's funny.
But yeah, it was really good. The schooling was. And then when I got to high school, there was a teacher that, again, he kind of taught all the subjects in high school. And I just looked up to him a lot, and really like, he was like a really formative person in my life. So, yeah.
In college, what was college like? I know that's probably around when you feel you got saved.
Yeah.
But what else were you doing? What did you study in college?
Yeah. So I took that gap year. at a little Bible college. And that was fantastic. I kind of just studied a smattering of things. And then when I came back, I really just had like no idea what I wanted to do with my life, no idea what I should do with my life. But I had an older brother that had went to Iowa State for engineering. And I was like, well, I'm pretty good at math, so I'll just do engineering, and like they make money. And so sounds good. So, and so Kirkwood has a really good program. I think still they do, where you can do 2 years at Kirkwood and then transfer to Iowa or Iowa State. And they like really work closely with both schools to make sure everything lines up. So I started at Kirkwood with the intention to go to Iowa State, and then got plugged into New Life and felt like, well, I want to stay close. I also started dating Megan at some point in there. And so I decided, well, I wanted to stay close. And then when I started looking at Iowa, I kind of just gravitated towards Iowa too, because it was a smaller school, smaller class sizes. And yeah, college was kind of a shell shock, like coming out of a really small school, a really small community. I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. How, like, I don't know how to study in a college environment. It was, it was kind of a wild ride. But so I did engineering for 2 years at Kirkwood, and then I transferred to Iowa, took 2.5 years there to get my bachelor's degree, and then been working as an engineer since then.
Wow.
So how did you meet Megan?
Yeah, so I just met Megan through the Corps. We were having all kinds of big Corps parties and whatnot, and I think she was involved with the Corps before I was, but when I moved up, I moved into, so I met the guys in the fall of my first semester at Kirkwood, and then I moved into the Mantagon over like winter break. And so I was living there, and I met Megan sometime that spring. So
Was it love at first sight?
it was not love at first sight, because I don't believe in that. Maybe I do. I don't know. I don't have a strong stance. But it was definitely like, wow, I should get to know that girl at first sight. So
That's more realistic.
yeah. He was like, I'm going to find out her name, and we're going to just see what happens.
So what do you feel like attracted you to her?
Well, she's very beautiful. That attracted me to her. And then as I got to know her, I think really what stood out is just her heart for people. Like it always seemed to me like she was like looking for the people on the fringes, and like, how can I like grab that person? And so that stood out. And then just as we got to, know each other more and started dating, I think our personalities are like a little bit opposite in the, like, I'm more extroverted, talkative, whatever. She's quieter, reserved, thinks a lot. And so I think like just that dynamic attracted me to her as well. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, opposites attract.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how did you ask her out, or what's the story
in
there?
the silliest way possible.
Can't be sillier than how Josh asked Jara out.
I forget how that was. Can you remind me?
I was here. What was I doing? I was cooking for Corps,
Mm-hmm.
and he came to practice his teaching for Corps, and then I happened to be there. So then he asked me like if he can help with anything, and I said, "Would you set up the tables and chairs?" He walks away, doesn't do it, and then come back and says, "I think I want to marry you. Would you date me?" And then I said, "Can I think about it?" And then he stood there, and I stood there.
You didn't say, "Don't you have the order reversed?"
No, I said, "That's a lot."
That's great.
But there are two other points that make that story even better. She was there cooking for Corps because I had forgotten that I was.
Yeah.
So if it had been you instead of her,
I don't think he would have asked me out.
Okay.
Or maybe he wouldn't have asked me out.
And then right after Josh asked her out, my dad came in and was like, Jared, I'm sorry, I don't know
Yeah.
why you said that.
Yeah.
You don't have to say yes. Don't feel pressure.
Yeah.
Kurt was the voice of reason.
He
for once.
was. He looked so disappointed. Like, so disappointed.
Even though, isn't that exactly how he asked Brenda out?
And
Yeah,
that's
basically.
Josh's biggest.
So, anyways,
Yeah.
back to you and Megan.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was trying to think. I don't know. For some reason, I thought that I had to like make it, I don't know, secretive or something. I don't know. But I decided I was going to meet her in a graveyard. So,
Oh, yeah.
and I do like graveyards. Like they're peaceful, they're nice. It's nice to walk around.
If she said
Great place
no,
for baby names. If she said no.
you could have just laid down.
Yeah. But for some reason, I thought Jess Gross should bring her to this graveyard, and then it was Cedar Ridge or Cedar Memorial, whatever.
Yeah.
Not Cedar Ridge.
Not
That's,
Cedar.
that's not a graveyard.
The winery.
Yeah,
Probably a better place to ask a girl out.
exactly. Yep. If anyone's taking notes, Cedar Ridge is
Cedar
better.
Ridge, not Cedar Memorial.
Yeah, but so for some reason I thought Jess Gross should bring her to this graveyard, and then I would like surprise her, and it'd be great. And I don't know. So I was like arranging this all with Jess, and then I went to the graveyard, and Jess came with Megan, and she was like driving around and I was like kind of like hidden, and they were like driving around like trying to find me, and like I saw them, but I was like I don't know what I was thinking. It was all silly. But eventually I like stepped out and like stepped in front of the car as they're like driving, and you know, they're just both in the car, and Megan just kind of looks at me like, okay, whatever. And she gets out, and so Jess had like tried to like keep it a secret where they were going, but eventually like Megan was like, okay, we're going to meet a boy for some reason, like whatever. And so then, I just asked her like, hey, you know, so I asked her if she would like to date. I didn't ask her to marry right away. But I did say,
move.
yeah. But I did say like, you know, I'm serious. Like, I don't just want to date you to have fun. Like, I am serious about this. And, you know, if this goes well, let's get married and all of that fun stuff. And gave her time to think about it. So she thought about it for a week or two and then told me yes. And we started dating, and it was great.
And it obviously worked out.
And it worked out. And then a while later, we only dated for 6 months. No, it wasn't even 6. Well, I don't know. I don't remember how many it is. You'll have to have Megan on, and she can set the story straight.
Yeah.
But then she's also very afraid of heights. And I mean, I kind of knew that, but I thought, well, this will be romantic anyway. So I took her out to Palisades. We like got dinner to go. Went out to Palisades, and there's like right below, you know, the gazebo on top of the cliff. Like if you like climb over the wall and then like 20 feet down the cliff, there's like this little rock outcropping. And I climbed down there with Megan, and we sat there and ate dinner. And the whole time she's like,
She probably would
dying.
get it because she likes you. If you were married,
Yes.
she wouldn't do it.
I should try it again now that we're married. It is funny. Like we'll go hiking at Palisades now, and like every time we walk by and look at it, like every time we're like, that's smaller than we remember it being. How did we? So we like ate an entire dinner, which is a bad idea because I was super nervous and not really hungry. And then finally after dinner, we like sat there and talked for a bit, and then I like stood up and got down on. I think I like was like, okay, let's stand up to go. And then once she was standing, then I knelt down and asked her. And
Was there a
It was
drop from that?
there was a significant drop from
So
that.
what if she got super excited and like tackled you with a hug or like was jumping up and down? You didn't really think that all through. I would die.
Nope. It was not that intelligent.
We must think similarly, Karlin, because I also
Yeah.
proposed to Elena right next to a cliff.
Was it if like she said no, then
I guess you could
You're
jump
right
off.
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Right
That's
there.
the story.
Either
is, yeah,
you
if she
jump
said
off
no,
or push her.
You push her off.
I don't know, officer. She got so excited. She just jumped.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't remember how tall the cliff was, but it probably wasn't as tall.
Where was it at? What?
It was at White Pine Hollow.
Okay, I've heard of that, but
Yeah. It's kind of like a big ravine, and there's kind of some cliffs there. But yeah,
That's very Elena.
what I did is I had the ring in my pocket, and then I also had like a ring box that didn't have a ring in it. And so I knelt down next to Clift, and I like got the box out and like fumbled it and dropped it off the edge.
Oh, Justin, that's awesome. Oh my gosh.
And then I was like, and so then like we went down to the bottom of the cliff to try and find it. And then I knelt down and proposed to her.
That's so cute. I've never heard this story.
You haven't heard that?
I guess I've never asked.
You probably heard it, you just forgot.
Yeah, I probably didn't care enough to remember. That's beautiful.
I think we need to have a class at New Life on how to propose.
Okay,
And
well, you
get
don't want
all
to
of these bad ideas out.
Have to have a cliff.
don't want to hear mine.
Yeah. I do want to hear.
Oh
yours.
gosh. So when Josh asked me out, we were going to. So I thought about it for a week. He got back, and then I said yes. Then we went and talked to his parents. And at this meeting with his parents, his mom goes, "You don't look like you're dating. You look like business partners," which was hilarious. And he had to shop for VBS science. So we went to Walmart. And this trip to Walmart was hilarious. He forgot to close his trunk. He forgot to close his door. He forgot how to drive, just everything. So nervous.
So he does have feelings.
He does. We do this shopping trip, and then we do another date later on where we go to the park and we walk, like normal date stuff. So now Josh wants to ask me out, and he's trying to surprise me, which I don't really like surprises.
Yeah.
But I keep finding out like how he's going to do it. Like he was texting with Pauline and I, before I was married to Josh, I was married to Pauline. We shared bank accounts. We shared Facebook messages. I could read all of her messages when she got them, her text messages, her emails. I could read everything.
Is that like just cuz, or were you like
We were
trying
so
to like
close.
help each other?
No,
Okay.
we were just, it's
Okay.
just
We're
cuz.
attached
Yeah.
to him.
That's,
Yeah,
wow.
we just did that for fun. And so whenever he would message her, I could like read it. Like it would pop up and I would see it. And I would always tell the truth, like I saw it.
Yeah.
And so he was like, well, I'll just propose to her the first date, the first place we had a date. And I was like, that's the park, not Walmart. So Josh got, my cousin who loves me, I love her, told his brother, and he proposed to me at Walmart in the Christmas aisle, and nobody talked him out of it.
And I was there filming it. It was great.
Wow. Like I said, we need a class.
I'm very grateful to be married to Josh. And I was very grateful when he proposed to me, but I figured it out. So we went to the park and he, bent down to tie his shoes and did different things. So I was like, oh, he's going to propose.
Yeah.
And then he had Megan call me and say, hey, can you get some decorations for this party we're having? And I said, no, like I'm going to get engaged today. I'm not doing it. And then he like really tried to convince me, but he was so nervous. He had me driving so I could decide where to go and
goodness.
how I want to do things. He was supposed to be driving. So then he convinced me we should go get the stuff. And I said, okay, well, I'll just go to the Dollar Tree. He said, well, I think Walmart will have more. And I said, no, Dollar Tree, just like
He at
it's
least
cheaper.
had standards. He at least wasn't going to propose at Dollar Tree.
So then I was like, fine, I guess I'll like, why are you pushing this? So then I figured it out. So I started to go to the Walmart we had our date at, which was the Cedar Rapids one, like near
Blair's
Edgewood.
Ferry?
Yeah, on Blair's Ferry.
Yeah.
But then I start heading there. He's like, well, that's not the Walmart I wanted to go to. So I was like, what? He was like, we're going to this other Walmart. Like the Marion one is better. And I was like, okay, now I'm thinking he's not proposing to me.
Yeah.
Because it's not even the Walmart we had our date at. So we went to this Walmart and I knew Pauline's plates, of course. I knew Megan's plate.
Yeah.
And I was like, this guy's proposing to me at a random Walmart. Like, it's not first date. It's a random Walmart. But I was still very excited when he proposed. And the funny thing is, when Gwen was born and we were coming home, we had to stop and pick up some things. So the first place we brought our daughter was at Walmart.
Of course.
It's where you'll die too.
Probably you just bury me in a Walmart
be
casket.
buried in a Walmart. That's amazing. I was gonna say maybe it's not too late for Nathan, but he's
he
already.
yeah,
So it is too late.
I did hear the story. Very beautiful.
It wasn't at Walmart.
No, it wasn't. It was not at Walmart. Josh has
Oh
all
my.
the other charms to make up for
Yeah,
the fact
yeah.
that he's supposed to
He's
be
got
a
the
womp.
beard.
All
Yeah.
right.
But if you are listening to this podcast and you're planning on proposing to someone,
Yeah.
seek advice.
Come talk to us first.
Come talk
Get
to us
help.
first. Get help.
So you guys got married.
So we got married.
And then-
Yeah, so we got married when I was halfway through my engineering degree. We lived in an apartment in Cedar Rapids for a year. Then we lived in a house in Iowa City for a year. And then we slowly started, we lived in Iowa City, and then it was North Liberty, and then bought a house in Cedar Rapids when I graduated. So yeah, we finished school. She was working as a nurse, so she was paying the bills. She was my scholarship program. So she was working while I was finishing school, and then she got pregnant. Trying to remember, pretty shortly after, I think a month or two after I graduated. So we did everything all at once. Well, not quite everything. I graduated, started working. She got pregnant, and then and we were house shopping at the time, and then I think by May we had bought a house and moved back up to Cedar Rapids. And then, had Declan in October. Her mom died in, oh shoot, I'm going to get the date wrong now. I think it was April. So it was just that year was holy cow, there's too much happening. So, yeah.
Yeah, that is crazy.
But you'll have to have her on the podcast. And
Yeah, she'll listen
Ask
to
her
this
about
and be like, that's not right.
well, she can correct the dates, but then she can also tell you all about, her life and her mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't spoil that.
Why are you
I
looking
thought
at me?
I thought you had a question. You started to say something.
I can come up with a question.
Well, no need. How was it being when you had Declan being a father? And did you guys?
Yeah.
Was that a planned baby? I guess.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, I loved being a dad. Like I said, I grew up with a lot of nieces and nephews, so I just loved kids. I loved being an uncle. And I was always just ready to be a dad. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was wonderful. And the baby stage, the baby stage was great, snuggling the little baby, but then, I just loved as he got older and toddler age and older, just being able to show him all these new things and teach him things and all that.
So are you and Declan very similar, in personality?
Yeah,
because
for
you can
sure.
look at the kid and tell that you guys have similar personalities.
Yeah. He's a carbon copy of me as a kid for sure. So, Yep, he reads everything. He'll be emptying the dishwasher and he'll get distracted reading the label on the cereal box, and I'm like, Declan, stop reading everything. So yeah, that was definitely me as a kid, and he's pretty sensitive, kind of shy. That was me as a kid too. So yeah, yep.
So how do you feel like becoming a dad? How did that change your outlook on life?
Yeah. I'm not sure. They feel like cliches, but I think a lot of parents experience this, just as your kid grows up, you kind of start seeing the world through their eyes, and everything's new, and it's they see something for the first time and they're like, whoa, what is that amazing thing? And it kind of helps you put it in a new light. And I suppose I don't feel the other cliche is you have a person that you're responsible for. And that, I think that definitely did change. But like I said, I feel like I was always pretty focused on that. I wanted a family. I wanted, kids. There was definitely a shift there, but I felt like I was bracing for it. But it's scary when you have a kid and you realize okay, now I can impart all of my messes to this child. So
all the things I don't know.
yeah. So I think that was probably the biggest, oh my goodness, this is a human being.
Yeah. Have you felt a difference between being a boy dad and now having Clara?
Oh yeah.
And a girl dad?
Yeah.
What's been the difference?
I feel like with as a boy dad, that my tendency, my knee jerk reaction is always like to push him a little bit farther. And I mean, I push Clara too, but it definitely feels more like, and so it's like tendencies. It's not like this is how it is all the time, but like my tendency is to want to push Declan harder, and my tendency is to want to just kind of shelter Clara more. So I feel like I'm balanced. You can have Megan on, and she can she can correct that. But yeah, that's kind of the what feels different to me.
Yeah.
But it's also just different. Like it's so interesting just seeing the differences between boys and girls too. My favorite story is Megan, my wife Megan, was watching Dax and Declan one time, and I was at work and she texted me and she's like, and they're like 4 years old at this time. She's like, Declan and Dax are riding their bikes as fast as they can off of the sidewalk into the grass, intentionally crashing them while like leaping off of them and yelling at the top of their lungs. And she's just like, is this normal? And I'm like, yep, checks out.
Do they have shirts on?
If they have shirts on, something's wrong. Yep. So it's just, even as I mean, like I said, Declan's a little bit more of a shy, reserved, bookish kid, but even then, like he's just my other line that I like to tell people is like I read to Declan a ton, but like reading was a contact sport. Like every time we were reading, he's just like bouncing off of me, like he's just all over. It's not like just sitting quietly and properly. And so with Clara, and then with Clara, like, from before she can talk, she's like mothering a baby. Like she's just mothering anything that will allow it to self to be mothered. And so it's just fun seeing that dynamic. Yeah.
Oh, that's sweet. I had heard a comedian talk about when he had his son. He said when he had his son, he looked at his son and said, wow, I would die for this kid.
Yeah.
Like, I love this kid so much. And then he had his daughter, and he looked at her and goes, wow, I would kill for this kid.
That's good. That's
I would murder her.
Yeah.
And he said he was very shocked that he went from a normal person to a murderer, like really quick.
Yeah. I don't know that I've ever thought that, but I would expand on that. I would murder someone in very inventive ways.
To protect your kids. And then he goes, but I wouldn't murder for my wife. That's her dad's job. I would die for her. I would not murder.
Oh, I would murder for my wife too. That would be,
I thought that was really.
we had this that just sends me on a spaghetti brain moment, but we had this moment at our old house where we had this Facebook deal that like we sold a thing. So it's like, again, newsflash, don't sell things on Facebook at your house.
Yeah,
but like
the
guy came and like picked up this thing, and I don't even remember what it was, but then he was like messaging me like, this thing doesn't work. You sent me you sold me garbage. He's like, I know where you live. And I'm like freaking out. So we didn't have like actual weapons. So I had this like metal pipe that's like this long, and I like put it by the door. I was like ready. I was like, I will.
This guy with the metal. You were right about the stick situation.
Yeah. I am Donatello.
So I did want to ask, so like coming to New Life as a church, how do you feel like that, or how do you feel like you've grown in your relationship with God since coming to New Life, I guess?
Yeah. It feels hard to answer succinctly because it's been so long since I've come. I think it's been 16 or 17 years now, which seems crazy. But I think the biggest thing is just the emotional journey, which the process of which I feel like that's everybody at New Life because that's what we do. But the process of, I would say, kind of facing my emotions, working through things like when negative emotions are coming up, figuring out what that is. But I had kind of started doing that before I came to New Life through different things. There was, when I was at the Mennonite Bible College, one of my classes was kind of a counseling class, but it really, like, they had us do all these things like thinking about your family history, like what were your parents like? What were your siblings like? What was your birth order? Like, how does that affect you? And all these things. So I had kind of started working through some of that before coming to New Life. But it was really, I think it was really a journey, like kind of seeking that, I'll say, emotional well-being. I can't think of a better term, but also I think kind of trusting that everyone else around me is doing that. That took a long time, like really trusting that everyone around me is genuine and really does care about me and really loves me. And I don't know, I'm not saying I'm pinning that on the church that I grew up in, that's why I struggled with that. I don't know why exactly I struggled with that. But yeah. And so I think that more than anything, like not just growing in my own walk with God and feeling like I can process negative emotions and find healing, but also just knowing that everyone else around me is doing that and I can trust them and I can trust their heart and I can trust that they're not, going to be two-faced or whatever, not present one face to me and have another face in private. So, yeah.
That's a big deal because then it doesn't feel like all the work is on you. You
Yeah.
know that they're
Yeah.
doing work too.
Yeah.
And they're trying their best too.
Yeah.
That is a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really funny. Like there's there's this horrible part of me sometimes. It's like, I want to be the best. Like, I want to be the best parent. I want to be the best, but there's too many awesome people all around me.
Yeah.
I can't be the best.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Well, if we all strive to be the best, then we just have a church of the best people.
Exactly.
And that,
Yeah.
I want us to win.
Yep. Absolutely.
Win what?
Best people church. Best parents of people.
Maybe you should take that 5 minutes with Jesus.
You think so? Jared, you just can't live your life that way in the conversation.
Probably. Yeah. Yeah, that would actually be a good benefit of the 5 minutes with Jesus is he can tell you exactly what you are doing wrong.
Well,
and,
I feel like
and
he
how
does,
to fix
though.
it.
I feel like
Well,
he
yeah,
does.
it's all kind of
He's-
already in scripture.
I know a lot of what I'm doing wrong. I know how to fix it. Do I? Joseph, I don't need Jesus to tell me like that. I feel like we all know our problems.
Yep.
That's a good point. Money won't fix our problems, though.
Well, like there's a lot of holes in my house. Like,
Yeah.
fill those up.
Money can't buy everything, but it can patch the holes in your house.
So I don't know, like, if this is just jumping completely out of order, but I do want to know, where did the seed for this school idea start for you?
Yeah.
Well, would this go with your current passions? Because on the
Sure.
questions I asked about, what are your
Yeah.
passions? Okay.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. So I had this idea to start a school. I think it was maybe kind of ingrained in me. That's something I didn't really realize until recently. Like, as I've thought about the school, I've just thought like, yeah, like, why not? Like, why not start a school? And then I realized like, I grew up in a private Christian school. So of course I would just think, why not? But when I was in college, I needed a foreign language credit. And I was just like looking through the directory and I saw a Latin class and I was like, oh, that sounds fun. So I jumped into a Latin class. And that was like my first exposure to anything like classical, I'll say. And so that kind of like started opening my eyes to like, oh, there's like my childhood education was good in a lot of ways, but it was abysmal in history. And so, yeah, so that just kind of started opening my eyes. My professor in that class was actually, I don't know if he was still Mennonite at the time, but he was kind of ex-Mennonite, and he like knew a lot of, like, it was so random that I met this guy, and he's like, oh, he was from the East Coast, but he's like, yeah, I know like these people, and you know, everybody in that world knows everybody. So that was a super cool connection. So I took that, and then during college, like I just like to read a ton. So I'd just constantly be reading things. And I stumbled across this guy by the name of Doug Wilson that he was kind of one of the people that kicked off the classical education movement, or resurgence. And I just really liked what he had to say about education. And so I just started reading him a lot, and it's like, this makes a lot of sense. And I would love to re-educate myself as much as I can in this way, and educate my children as much as I can in this way. And it would be awesome if, our church could start something like this. But I kind of just sat on it for a while. I mean, I talked to like some people that I was really close to, but I didn't want it to be like, a big deal, and so I kind of just sat on it and stewed on it for a while. And I mean, I also I did have fear with it. Like, this is a huge project. Like, how could we actually, handle that? So that was definitely a factor as well. But then it's probably 3 or 4 years ago now, John and I started talking about it like fairly seriously, but we were kind of like butting heads at that point because, they were like, well, we're doing Charlotte Mason at home and that's like perfect. And I was like, well, I'm doing this thing at home. This thing is perfect. And so we're like, we can't do the same thing. And it was just funny and silly. But so we talked about it a bit at that point, and then kind of just put it on the shelf. And then a couple years ago, John just came to me and was like, we are starting a school, and here we go. And just been like dragging me ever since then. So, when it happens, it will be all John's fault.
So, with like your Latin class and like getting introduced to classic literature, what if you were like stuck? Okay, no, I'll ask it this way: if all other classical literature was going to be burned, and you could only choose one book to save that was originally written in Latin, what book would you save?
It's a very specific question.
I honestly don't feel like I can answer that question. Like, I don't think I could pick up one of the classic works of literature in Latin and read it.
Well,
like,
I don't mean like read it in Latin.
Yeah.
But like if you read a translation of it, or what classical book? Maybe I'll just say, what classical books would you recommend?
Yeah. I mean, what I've been reading recently is more like the history of classical education, and I guess just kind of different writers like writing more specifically about well, obviously they didn't call it classical education, they just called it education.
Mm-hmm.
But I read a book by Augustine it was just called On Christian Teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And it was originally written like more geared towards pastors, like teaching the Bible, but it's really applicable, I think, to teaching anything in the Christian faith. And yeah, I really loved that book. It's, I just feel like he has all these little like snippets, like he's not even talking about a subject, but he'll just like drop a little nugget and it's like, that's mind blowing. And he's just like moving on.
Augustine he's crazy.
Yeah.
I think Christians who haven't listened to Augustine, like, that's what they need to go do, is just go listen or read Augustine.
Yeah, absolutely.
I usually listen to audiobooks. That's why I say read or listen.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you can really read through, like his City of God it's very long. So I would just listen through it.
Yeah.
Listen to it and have the book in your library so you look smart.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the trick. Listen on audiobook. I'm also a big fan of audiobooks. At first, I feel like it has to be a particular kind of book. Like, there's some books where it's like I have to sit down and underline everything and like take notes and all this stuff, but there's also a good number of books. Anything.
And you do that while you're not in school? Like, you still
I'll do a lot of underlining. I won't do a lot of like note taking and stuff, but yeah, definitely. I've got, non-school books that I really like to dig through.
So where did your love of learning come from? And I feel like that's one thing when I look at your family and I look at your kids and whenever I've interacted with them, it's like these kids really seem to like to learn.
Yeah.
And they seem like curious.
Yeah.
Which is a something I would like to impart to my kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I appreciate the compliment. And honestly, I think it probably just goes back to my mom reading to me so much. Like, it just, I think what it does is and we've seen this with Declan, and we're starting to see this with Clara. Like as we read a lot, and even just reading like picture books and things to Clara, you're kind of modeling. Like they're seeing like there's something here that is captivating these adults. Like for some reason, a book is a valuable thing, and so and I think that's what my mom did for me, and so I really don't know where it came from other than I just loved, like from an early age. When I was a kid, I think probably all boys at least go through at least a phase of this, but I had a pretty long phase of like anything to do with outer space was like my thing. Like I knew everything about outer space. And so, I don't know. I just loved learning facts about anything. And I mean, some of it was definitely I liked knowing a thing and saying a thing and having people be like, how did you know that? You're so young. And I was like, yeah, I am smart. So there's definitely some sinful pride involved. But yeah, also just there's a whole world of amazing things out there to learn.
So you think just reading to children can make them love learning?
I think so. And I think, and then once they learn to read on their own and they can, start to mine information for themselves. I think it can hook their brains and they'll go digging.
Yeah, I feel like our generation, I've heard a lot of parents say like, oh, I don't like reading out loud. It's boring.
Yeah.
And I was starting to get to that point. So I'm like, okay, well, I want quality books then that I'm not going to be bored by. And honestly, I don't read very much. And a lot of the classics that like homeschooled kids would have grown up reading, I didn't read. So I recently got the Little House on the Prairie books because it was on that list of books that you guys gave out. And I've lost it now. I want a copy.
There was that list at one time.
Yeah, you guys had a list of all the books.
Yeah.
And I was trying to get everything on the list in Gwen's library, but then I lost the list.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I got that. And then I was like, well, Gwen, this is what we're reading. And she's like, it doesn't have pictures.
Yeah.
And she throws a whole fit. And I just proceed to read this book. And she's crying. You will love learning, Kyle. So I start reading it. And then I'm like, having to read some parts again. I'm like, oh, they did what with the pig stomach? Like, girl, this is weird.
Well, you thought that was weird. I'm surprised you thought that was weird.
Oh, yeah. I'm like so American now.
Yeah. I figured with your African roots, you'd be like, why did they not eat the...
It's very strange.
Yeah.
Like I have some things where it's like, oh, like that checks out for African. And then there's some things that's like, are you African?
Yeah.
But
But I'll grab that one point. Something I do feel very strongly about is if you do not enjoy reading the book, then it is not a good book. Like if you're trying to read, and there are so many horrible children's books out there, like if it is not enjoyable for you as an adult to read, then you should not be reading it to your child.
Yeah.
So
we've
there's my hot take.
We've got this great. Do you know what the Love Every or Lovery or whatever it is service is? It's like a subscription box of kids' toys.
Oh, okay.
But they're supposed to be like backed by science. They'll
Montessori.
They'll teach your kids stuff.
Yeah.
And things, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyways, there's this one book. Max and Nana go to the park, and it's just this kid, and he goes to the park with his grandma, and they're all like real photos. It's not like anyone like drew art, which is like that would have been the only redeeming quality of the book. Is if there's some kind of art. But anyways, every time that Arthur brings that book to me to read, I start reading it and I just start making things up. Random things start happening at the park that have nothing to do with what the book says. So I'm like, this book is so boring.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, now I want to get you all kinds of books because I just had a weird twitch. Because there's all kinds of good, really
please
good, enjoyable.
Do. We are trying to rebuild our library. Gwen does really like books now because we have been reading so many books to her. And now it's actually like becoming recently one of us were trying to put her to bed and we were like, oh, it's just too late for books. Gwen, and she goes, it's too lazy for books.
Whoa.
And we were like, no, we said it's too late. She goes, it's too lazy. We We're like, child, we're going to bed. Like,
That is so
but like
funny.
now we're stuck where we're like reading 3
Yeah.
books a night. And
It's a double-edged sword because they won't let you off the hook.
no, they
It's-
won't. And if we don't want to do TV, we just sit and we're reading books now. And I'm like, I want to scroll on my phone.
Yep.
I want my bad habits.
Yep.
But I don't want that for you.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we are trying to get more and better books in our library. We got some books. They're called "It's the Story of" by Joyce something, and she does like the story of David and Goliath, the story
Yeah.
of Esther, Ruth,
Yeah.
and it's the Bible story in poetry, and it's actually good.
Yeah.
And I like actually enjoy reading it. And so
Is that the story of God? Or story of God with us? The story of
Yeah,
God
the
King?
story
Yeah,
of,
we just
like-
got those too. Yeah.
yeah,
those are
we
really
got the
good.
set from the used bookstore.
Yeah.
And so every night we're like actually kind of excited, except
Yeah.
that night that we told Gwen no and she called us out.
You were too lazy.
Yeah, you're too lazy to read me a book, just admit it.
Yeah.
So those books I highly recommend because it actually tells the real story.
Yeah.
But in a child's form, and it's just so good. So
Yeah.
if you're looking for Christian children books.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would be very interested in what other books that you guys read at home.
Yeah. At one point we were trying to start, there were a few parents that were trying to like make a Google document and like all the book recommendations. And I don't know what happened with that. So we'll have to try to resurrect that.
We
Top
should.
of the list for me, Dumb Diddy, Dumb Diddy, Dumb Dumb Dumb. Hand, fingers, thumb.
That's amazing. I've not heard of that
It's
one.
No.
a Dr. Seuss book.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah, I've
It's
not
a
heard of
great
that one.
Yeah.
Dr.
Dr.
Seuss has good ones.
Shel Silverstein. It's fantastic.
Eric Carle is
Yes.
my favorite like children's book artist.
Yes.
The Very Hungry Caterpillar, of
Yep.
course.
Oh yeah.
And then actually at the church garage sale this last year, I think it was at the church garage sale, I picked up it's like Grimm's Fairy Tales
Yeah.
as told and illustrated by Eric Carle. So
Oh.
Wow. Wow.
it's pretty
That's
awesome.
that's a mashup.
It's awesome actually.
Wow.
And it is like a little bit a step above like your typical children's book of like
Yeah.
there's a lot more words than there are pictures. But,
Yeah.
So
There's a Andrew Lang's collection of fairy tales. It's like 12 books, and they are very authentic original fairy tales, which means they're very violent.
Yeah.
And so I would like read those to Declan. I haven't started with Clara yet, but Megan would just be like, "Why are you doing this? This is
Yeah.
horrible."
There's like the Arabian Night set of books where
yeah.
like those one where they found the cave with the treasures.
Yeah.
And then he took some and the thieves found out.
Yeah.
and we were-
Alibaba or
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's
Alibaba,
it.
yeah.
And we were reading and I was like, oh my gosh, she like boiled them a lot, like with oil. This is awful. And
Yeah.
Gwen's just sitting there.
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't think she's paying attention, but then she'll bring something up later.
Yeah.
Like she'll go tell someone a story that's very disjointed and not mention it was in a book.
Yeah.
She'll just quote something
Yeah.
and it's like, then you got to give context.
Yeah, they were boiled alive.
Yeah.
It is. I don't know. Like maybe I screwed Declan up for life. I don't know, but it's like I don't know. It just seems like his brain processes it a little differently. Like
Yeah.
I don't like they get that it's serious, but I don't know.
But since my dad's just reading it to me, it must not be that
guess
serious.
it's fine.
I think Hans Christian Andersen's fairy tales need to make a big comeback.
Yeah.
I mean, like the original ones, like his original Little Mermaid is really awesome,
Uh-huh.
and like, which for people who haven't read the original Little Mermaid, in it she wants to be human because only humans have an immortal soul and can go to heaven,
Wow.
whereas mermaids just turn into sea foam when they die.
Wow.
Doesn't she end up turning into sea foam? Or is
Well,
that the
so
a different one?
I mean, you're gonna have to read it. I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to
No
spoil all of
spoilers.
it. But she does become a human, and then she gives up her humanity, and then becomes some kind of like air spirit, and then eventually
Yeah.
works her way to getting to heaven again. So I don't know exactly what the theological implications are there, but
First, you gotta go from being a mermaid to human, then give that up.
Yeah, I haven't actually read that one. So
yeah, that one's really good. And then I don't know if you've ever heard of what is it? It's like the Little Pine Tree or something like that. it's like this really awesome fairy tale about this pine tree of like when it's a little tiny pine tree, it wants to be a really big pine tree. And then it grows up and becomes a big pine tree, and it sees like people cut down a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Or like cut down a tree and take it and decorate it. And it's like, that's what I want to
Yep.
be.
Oh.
And then it gets cut down and taken and becomes a Christmas tree. And it's like, it's the best night of my life. And then like the rest of it's like him dying.
Yeah. I actually that's in Andrew Lang's book. And I
Okay.
actually just was looking through that. I was actually looking for a story for the co-op kids, and I saw that story. And I was like, that's too dark.
But that's so amazing. You always want for the next thing, and it's just not always.
Well, and I think like when he's a Christmas tree too, he's like they put like candles on him because like that's what they did back in the day, and he's like scared and like there's too much going on, and so like he doesn't even enjoy being a Christmas tree, even though like that was his expectation. I'm gonna enjoy being a Christmas tree, and then I think it ends with him being chopped up for firewood.
Yep, exactly,
and
being burned alive. Yeah. and I think it even says like he's screaming, and the children like hear the screaming of the wood, because pine wood screams,
crackles,
and crackles. And it's like, wow, that's dark. But it is an amazing
and then he went to heaven. Is how you
And then he saw Jesus.
Yeah, and that was it.
It was a saved pine tree. Yeah, but it is like an amazing little metaphor for life.
Yes. That's so good.
Don't always be looking to the next thing. Just enjoy what you got.
Yeah. Because someday
you'll be chopped up and
chopped into firewood.
Oh man. I had a few more questions, but now I'm forgetting them.
And do we need a time check? I want to just keep going and going and going. But.
No, but
yeah, I mean we can probably wrap up soon. But if you got more questions,
why can't you have to edit this out? Because now I'm like thinking out loud.
15 more minutes. 15 more minutes.
Well, was there anything on that list of questions?
We should talk about books.
Yeah. Well,
what are you guys reading right now?
Well, I'm doing that Little House on the Prairie, and then I'm for my Bible time. I'm doing Matthew.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm not really reading much right now. I listen to the Book of Psalms every morning.
Oh, that's right.
And
Joe and I are in a Barnabas group right now, so I know
that.
As far as like reading, I feel like I kind of switched from reading to like listening to podcasts more in like the last few years or whatever. Like I don't know. I'm trying to remember like what the last book I read was. I probably should get back into reading books, but like
you should.
I do really enjoy podcasts too. But
they're good. I like to listen to things. What are you reading?
Yeah, podcasts and YouTube. I was gonna pull up the list of questions.
Oh, go ahead. That would be good. Yeah. So I can look at that. I don't have my phone on me.
Yeah, podcasts and YouTube videos are always excellent as well. What am I reading? I had an answer for this question, and then like as I was asking the question, I was like, well, now I'm not quite sure. I'm reading a few different things. I finally am diving into The Consolation of Philosophy by Boethius, which Joe has read. And it's this medieval philosopher guy philosophizing about life. And right now I'm actually reading about him, not reading the actual book. So I don't have anything to report yet, but I'm very excited. And then I'm reading a smattering of other books. I'm reading a book right now by a guy who's writing about C.S. Lewis, and it's called Planet Narnia. Have you heard of it?
No.
Okay. So he has this thing. So because the Narnia books are famously like a mishmash. Like there's all kinds of weird different things going on. Like Father Christmas shows up, and then like Bacchus shows up, and like all this like weird. And so people have often tried to figure out like what is going on, like why is he mashing all these things together, and then like what kind of a metaphor is it to, like, is Aslan really a metaphor for Christ, and how and why, and anyway, so this guy's theory is in the medieval conception of astronomy, there were 7 planets that were ruling, or 7 spheres. I'm actually not remembering right now because I think maybe the sun or the moon were one of the spheres. But you have like the Earth is the center, and then you have like 7 levels as you're climbing up through the planet. So it's like the Earth and everything under the moon is all like that's things that are constantly changing and constantly in flux. But then once you go past the level of the moon, then things are no longer changing and they're like stable. And then like every realm of the planets is like controlling a certain sphere of activity. So, you know, Mars is the god of war and Saturn is the king of all the gods and all this stuff. And so there's like each level as you go, and then you get to the outer level, and then it's, I think it's called like the ether after that. Like that's just out into the stars. And so this guy's theory about what C.S. Lewis is doing in Narnia is that each book is like representing one of those gods or levels. Because so C.S. Lewis also wrote the Space Trilogy, the Paralandra and Out of the Silent Planet and That Hideous Strength. And he does it a lot more explicitly there. Like he really talks like, because they literally go to Venus, and it's like it's a fertile planet, and they literally go to Mars, and it's like this warlike planet. So he's like more, and that was written before Narnia. So he's like more open about it there, but then in Narnia he's like more subtle about it. And so like, for example, one of the things like they always say, not always, but they often in the Narnia book, someone will say, "By Jove, that's an amazing," and like that's just like a British thing that they say, right? So like I never really thought of it, but like Jove is the name of Saturn. So they're literally saying like we're doing this in the power of Jove. And so I don't know, like I'm not all the way through his theory and everything. So I don't know if I totally buy that like each book is like clearly one planet or whatever, but it is like I think there's definitely an influence there where like C.S. Lewis loved medieval everything, you know, medieval language and literature and all of that. And there was a quote from C.S. Lewis that like the medieval idea of the planets is better than our modern idea in every single way except that it's not true. like as an idea and as like a poetic structure, like it just makes, and it wasn't like they weren't thinking of it as like the earth is so important, it's at the center. It's like the earth is so humble, like we're at the bottom and we're looking up at everything. And so I think it is a cool idea, and it like I definitely see like how it influences Narnia. But anyways, so I think that's lots of fun. That's one where I'm doing a lot of underlining and highlighting interesting passages. So, yeah. And then I'm like, at any given time, I'm usually flipping through Lord of the Rings. Like Lord of the Rings is like one of the books that like, so I have methods to my reading, you know, there's like, and my wife makes fun of me for this, but you read before you go to bed. But then when I go to bed, then I can read my Kindle. And that's like, I have to do that for like 10 minutes before I fall asleep. I can't just like go to bed and go to sleep. That would be crazy. So the Lord of the Rings is like an easy, like read 5 minutes of that under the covers before I fall asleep. So
That's funny.
Just read a couple of genealogies, travel rations, that kind of stuff.
That's funny. That's so much better than let me just scroll a little.
It's true.
Now it's time to go to bed.
I do prefer it to that as well.
So I always ask Elena what I should ask someone. And you talking about Lord of the Rings, she wanted to know about your group chat of she said it's like Karlin's Girls or something like that. You guys talk about Lord of the Rings, something like that.
It's the Lord of the Rings ladies, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Myself and Carrie Kearney and Jenna Huther and Jess Gross. We just, for some reason, it started as when Rings of Power came out.
Okay.
We were like texting each other like, this is awful, right? Yeah, this is awful. Can you believe how awful this is? Actually, it didn't totally go off the rails right away. Like there were some good things, and then eventually it did go way off the rails. So it started as that, and then it just kind of turned into sending Lord of the Rings memes.
Okay.
And Carrie is like the meme master, so then she jumped in, and
there are some really awesome Lord of the Rings memes.
Yes.
That's funny.
And we actually just watched the Lord of the Rings movies over Christmas break with Declan for the first time. And so now, which the best part of that is now he's seen them. So now I can show him all the memes.
Oh yeah, bring him in.
Yep. Yep.
That's funny. Did you get a look at that list? Was there anything that?
I do have it up. I think we've gone through. I mean, I think we've really covered all of this content. So.
Oh, wow. I can always come up with something at the end, but I think I'm losing my spark.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Is there anything big and exciting happening in your life now?
Oh my gosh. You know what I was going to open with?
What?
Megan's pregnant.
I
Wow.
know. I was waiting for that. That's why I asked that question.
Now I've got to wait till the end for the big surprise.
Yeah.
That's right. Yes. Slog through the whole thing. Yeah, and it was great timing that I was able to come on here and tell everybody, and now we don't have to tell everybody.
No,
Done.
that is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yep. So
That is so exciting.
we're gonna have our third child in July.
Oh,
So yep.
that's a
Yep.
sweet month to have a baby.
Yes. Yes. And then we're gonna have. So our cat's birthday is in August, and so now we're gonna have July, August, and then I am in September, and then Declan is in October, and then Megan is in November, and then Clara is in
Oh,
December. So we're
wow.
gonna have
Yeah.
like more than half the year filled.
That is so. Wait, and that's perfect because I remember you telling me that Megan hated being pregnant throughout the summer, and she had always wanted to be
Yes.
pregnant throughout the winter and then
Yes.
giving birth like spring,
Yeah.
summer, and so this is perfect
Yeah.
for her.
Yeah.
Wow, what a God thing.
Yep, absolutely.
That is exciting. That's very,
Yeah.
very exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, we're very excited and very blessed. So, and Declan and Clara, well, they were kind of arguing over like should it be a boy or a girl, but they're both like, we don't care. We're just well, actually, I think Clara still really wants it to be a girl. But
Yeah.
I don't care.
It's understandable.
I knew you guys had Clara's name picked out way ahead of time.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a name picked out for this one?
I do. I haven't quite convinced Megan yet. So
Okay.
Boethius, probably.
yeah,
Boethius.
Boethius. That would be a good one.
That's funny. Girl or boy, regardless.
Yep. Yeah. Yes. I also recently read about Alfred the Great. I had never read that dude.
He's legit.
Yep.
Too.
Life goals right there. Just free all of England.
Yeah.
That's my new life goal. So
Is there a
Alfred's on the list.
2026 goal for want to free England?
Yeah, free America, I guess. I don't
Free
know.
America. Alfred, I think that's a nice name.
I really like it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's high enough on the list that I am not able to just throw it out there because
Yeah.
I don't think we'll end up using it. But
Yeah.
I really like it. It means like elf friend or something like that, which I think is super cool.
Oh, really? I thought it was of Fred.
No.
No? Alfred.
Why would it be of Fred?
Well, like, yeah, of
like
Fred.
The son of Fred.
Yeah, or like the daughter of Fred.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's like Alf from Elf.
Yeah, okay, I see.
Yeah.
Ow. Yeah.
And then Fred. Whatever that's.
Well, that's very exciting. It was
Yeah.
really nice talking to you, Karlin.
Yeah.
This episode has been
Same.
long awaited and lived up to all the hype that we had about it.
Yeah. Well, now I just want to do it again because it's fun. And
Podcasting is a lot
talk
of fun.
about all the other
Yeah.
things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
well,
Well, thank you.
thank you.
Very welcome. Thank you, everyone, for listening.